Hello and welcome to chapter 172 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Not too shabby, Travis. It's been a busy day today. I already recorded my episode for Walk Through the Multiverse this week. Since I'm going a day early, we'll talk about that in the show notes or in the when we get to the shows and all that. But I'll get that up for the patrons a couple days early so that they can hear that before everybody else. Other than that,
Mm-hmm.
just I'll be honest though. Earlier today, I'm like, oh yeah, so my day's done. It's like 6 o'clock. Just had dinner, and I'm thinking, all right, cool. I could just go, shower, relax, go to bed. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I got to record tonight.
I got a show. Talking about DC. Well, there was not a big lot going on in DC this week compared to the last few. We've had trailers for Blue Beetle and Flash and
Sure.
CinemaCon talk. So all that is a lot bigger than this. I don't think this show is going to be an extra long episode, but we got a lot of
No,
stuff
but
here to talk about.
it was just one of those things where like it just literally left my mind
Happens
that
to
I'm
me all the
recording
time.
tonight.
Happens to me. I had to set a reminder on my phone to give for Mondays. Just a couple times it goes off, let me know, just so I make sure I got the show notes on the wraps and
Yeah.
everything like that. So it slips my mind. I feel you there. And
But how are you
myself,
doing?
personally, I'm doing great. If you're on YouTube, my little Maple Leafs glass here, my team won for the first time. They're going to round two since 2004. So yeah, you can do the math. I was in high school watching it with my mom. So that it's quite a difference. I missed all my young adult years because okay, Americans like we can drink at age 19, and you really drink 17, 18 here. So
What are you
you
talking
always
about? We
find
can drink at 19 too. Just don't get caught.
yeah, well, legally we can drink at 19. So
Oh,
yeah,
we
I
gotta get
missed all those
legality
years.
into it.
I missed all those years, and that was one of the funner things I've seen. Is more fun things I've seen is my friends getting together, watching their sports team, and it was kind of frustrating. So it was fun, enjoying it, and really cheering for my father because he's 65, and he tells me he remembers the last time they won. He was 8. I kind of
Damn.
dispute some of it because there was black and white TVs. They didn't have color TVs at the time, so I'm a little skeptical of his version of events. But I don't say that to him, because
You don't
he's
get,
quite
smacked.
he's quite passionate. At one time, the Canadian team was playing at the same time, and he's like, "I don't care about Team Canada; they're everybody's team. The Maple Leafs are my team." So yeah, pretty passionate. So it was fun. Besides that, I'm waiting. I have a week until I start work forever.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, the rest of your life.
But I'll enjoy the
One of
time till the
us.
end. While we don't have any trailers, Joe, we got an interesting episode. Gunn has been spouting off. Sorry, that sounds
That
like a
sounds bad.
negative comic.
Yeah.
Gunn has been revealing some DCU little nuggets throughout his press tour for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I can't wait to see that movie too this week. I'm super excited. And obviously, check out Marvel Alliance this weekend. They're going to cover it, I'm sure, live on Friday, and it'll drop on podcast feeds, I think, the next day. So,
Yes, that's one of the notes of why my show's moving to Friday, so that they can
yeah.
put that out Saturday.
I'm always a team player, Joe, just like myself. We're Team GUA. Gotta help
Well,
that Marvel Alliance guys
yeah,
whenever they can. They
exactly.
they they do, they came they talked Titans on this show once before, so they get a permanent pass. Anyone who
Now, hold
talks
on.
Titans,
We talk Titans in our episodes over the weekend, and they're actually not bad.
and see, listeners, that's how you do a segue right there. Myself and Joe, you might be wondering, yeah, like last week, wasn't it chapter 160? Yeah, we did a couple extra episodes this over the weekend. We did chapters 170 and 171, talking about, catching up on Titans, 4 episodes 6, 7, 8, no, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
And we caught up on the 3 episodes of Superman and Lois, 4, 5, and 6 of season 3, and put both of those out. So those were very fun discussions. I enjoyed both those shows. I was
Yeah.
shocked at how much I enjoyed Titans. I was gonna go in being skeptical, didn't think, not gonna be burned anymore. But they do have 2 episodes, and if they stick to landing, this arguably could be the best season of the show.
It, yes.
There's
100%.
a little hint. We go in deeper about the stuff, but that's just a
Yes, that's
little
not
of my
saying much considering the last couple seasons, but
yeah, but still, it's something. Like I know Chris at Marvel Alliance is thinking about watching. He hasn't started yet, and he's wondering. I would recommend him finishing off the series at the moment. Depending on how they stick the landing, I will change my mind on that. But right now, I would
I
tell
mean,
him to
if
finish off. If
Chris,
you got 3 seasons in,
if,
it's good
if
enough.
you're a completionist and you want to finish that last season, just wait till it's all out and then
Yeah.
watch it.
Well,
Like
we'll
you're
get,
not missing it, you know.
I'll give my recommendations at the end of the season if I think you should bother going full in or not. And honestly, the landing is going to have a lot to do with it. But check that out. We have a good discussion on both of those things. They're two separate episodes. They drop Sunday, Saturday for the patrons. So I should do the network plugs and we'll get on the way with the show. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays, it's Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation podcast. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly as they walk through the multiverse. And Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network. Stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, the $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically where you get your tip jar, like what we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through DC films through the years. Batman Returns is on deck for May. Sorry, got the months mixed up. I'm a little messed up because trying to do the live times for DC, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance, I looked down at my clock and I almost said the Newfoundland time instead of the Eastern time. So I was a little juggle there. I hard habit. But yeah, myself and Joe are going through the DC films through the years. We have Chris and Brent, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their MCU rewatch, not only films, but the one shots and series as well. So stick with them as they cover the entirety of the MCU. We have Clay going through shows for the first time. We have Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband Matt, and we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, which I have guested on a couple appearances and plan to record a couple more this week. So be on the lookout for that. And I will talk with Joe off air about something else. I think maybe I might have to guest and talk about with him. We'll see. I'll hold that. It's in the same vein, but I'll hold the thoughts there. Yeah. So we thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice. It's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe. That was it. I think we're ready to rock.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Just one little refresher there. There's quite a little bit of an intro. So there was a Full Circle, Zack Snyder Full Circle event that happened this past weekend, a fundraiser for American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. I don't have the totals on the numbers they raised for the entirety, but the event was sold out. They had a 3-day event. There was Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League were all screened for fans, along with Q&As. For Man of Steel and BVS, fans came up on stage with Zack Snyder as they watched 2 films. Shout out to Scott DC27 from the Squadcast Network. One of the first people I listened to in the DC world for podcasts, and just a tremendous guy. He was on stage with Zack Snyder for 20 to 30 minutes discussing that film, and that was super cool. There were other people. There was Rebecca from Supergirl Radio as well. It's a couple people that I noticed up there. And the Q&A for BVS was fantastic. I want to give a shout out to Sean O'Connell from Cinema Blend, who did the Q&A for that, and he was great. There was a lot of back and forth. I implore you to check it out. It's all on the Vero. Most of it is on the Vero YouTube channel, or I think you can watch the replay back on Vero, the app as well. But I think the BVS one was harder to find, the Q&A. I didn't manage to dig through it. Is in the notes there. It's a different YouTuber. I think someone that actually attended the event. But this was just a cool thing, Joe. Obviously, there's nothing. We're going into the DCU now. That is like, as all normal rational fans like you and I know. But I don't see. Because I saw some people that they're supposedly being rational fans, but like got up in arms that this even happening. Just like, why can't we just move on? I think this is a pretty good just treat for the fans that got you that film made, and to get to see that film in IMAX, and obviously all the money going to AFSP. But I did see a lot of moaning and groaning coming out of this weekend from some people, and I thought that was
that's just the stupid. It's dumb, especially when you think about it. What we had a Star Wars celebration just a little bit ago. Now, granted, most of the Star Wars celebration stuff is what's coming.
Yes.
But I've been to a celebration, and they like to praise what happened before. Uh, this is also the 40th anniversary for Return of the Jedi. You
which
want
was
to know
in
where I went?
theaters.
I went to go see that in theaters
Mhm.
just this past weekend. Like, you're complaining about this movie that made a ton of money in theaters, has been divisive for the fan base for whatever reason, and this full circle event is helping a very important thing, and you want to be dumb about it? Like, come on, guys! Like, why are you
It's
being
one
so stupid?
it's one of those things like I don't like Superman Returns. I don't enjoy it. I don't like the film. If anybody loved it, they had a convention of people, and some people came that were at the film and participate in the film. And Brandon Rice was there. I wouldn't complain about it existing or I
No,
just let them do their thing. Enjoy what you enjoy. Like that's the thing that is just the mind-boggling page. You get things coming out from the BVS Q&A about, I'm sorry, the Man of Steel Q&A about they were potentially thinking about Ares and uh Zeus being Kryptonian.
yeah.
And then I see like
Then I saw
complaints on
people
Twitter about
on Twitter just like, "Oh, and this is why Zack Snyder doesn't understand the character." Wait,
it's an
this is a
idea.
universe by itself. For one, it could have all of these possibilities. I don't see what people just want to criticize him because other people want to raise him up. Like,
Yeah, there's
it's a battle between these fans that don't need to happen.
I don't know if for every one crazy Zack Snyder stan, there's a crazy Zack Snyder anti, but it's not the super far off in terms of the numbers. It's
Yeah,
just like I just don't understand it. It blows my mind. So yeah, that's just something I just wanted to talk about there about that. But I thought the event was cool. Um, like I said, Scott was there. I saw he subscribe to Squadcast Media on YouTube. If you're not a patron, check it out. He
I
got a
know
lot of extra stuff there.
Tim would have been there, but he had some, I think, work related things to where he couldn't get away.
And this is my one criticism of the whole event, Joe. Uh, quick turnover from announcement to event. I personally would have loved to have went to that event. And if I had a bit like if you told me the event was coming in 8 months and tickets were going on sale in 3 months, that was
You can
doable.
prepare.
I just had a
Yeah,
kid and I just finished going back to school for 3 years, so there's no way I could do that because, I don't wanna bring up numbers now, but I'd say it cost me close to 2 grand in flights
yeah.
returning just coming from this island to get to California and back, so, uh that's the frustrating thing. I would have loved to attend. Glad everyone knew that got to go, and it was complete sellout anyway. So it's not like scheduling prevented anyone that could possibly go from going. But just missing out on that was
Yeah,
incredibly gut punching when you think about it. I would have loved to just be there because I'm a big fan of all three of those films, and yeah, just to see some of the Q&A moments
just to
they had,
see
it was pretty cool.
Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters. Yes,
In IMAX, Joe,
in
in IMAX.
IMAX.
That's why I'm hoping with the Revenge of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi you just talked about, Revenge, Return of the Jedi you just talked about,
It used to be called
the
Revenge, then
the
it got changed.
40th anniversary. Maybe one day we will get a release of this in more
Correct.
places on IMAX. Like that's
Yeah,
just something.
I'm not gonna say I'm holding my breath, but
No,
it's one of those things where if it happens, I'll be there. I will sit
same.
in that theater for 4 hours and watch it in the theater and
I,
not complain one bit.
I'm
Because
pretty.
that's what I did when they cut the HBO Max. Like, I took the day off of work. I got like popcorn, like actually got popcorn from the movie theater the night before, and I had like other stuff like all here. And then I turned the lights off. Now I don't have a big TV or anything, but like I was in the dark with TV on, sat for 4 hours, watched the entire thing, and then I went and bathroom and all that stuff, and then came back down and watched it again. But
Mhm.
so it's just I'm here for it. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the trilogy. Would I have loved to have seen it do more? Of course I would.
Mhm. I
But
think we're
that's
both
what we have.
of the normal rational. We both really enjoyed these films a lot.
Yeah,
Wish
but
that it
we
would have
also
continued, but
understand we understand that it's not going to move forward
no.
in
In this
this form.
iteration, yes.
Yeah,
Like, we
it
could get it
could move forward somewhere
animated, it
else.
could be graphic
Mhm.
novel. We're realistic on those possibilities just because DC revisits look Batman '89 comic anyone. There's
Yeah,
no point that they
Superman
w that
78,
there's yeah, you can't just rule it out. But,
the Flash movie. Come
again,
on,
we're excited for the DCU going forward as well. We're not, like we're not
exactly.
a one-sum game when it comes to DC, and that's kind of the point I want to emphasize here, just in anybody, you don't have to be in one something. You don't have, not everything can be for you, but you don't have to poo poo other people that enjoy it. Again, really enjoyed it. Uh, Phil, who's been on here as well in the chat and joined me on the Animation Nation, has his own podcast as well. He was at the event.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. I gotta say, there was some cool little tidbits coming out about some of these films as well. And as Bob said, I think Man of Steel is probably my favorite of the three, but it's close with Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it goes BVS Zack Snyder. It goes to 1, 2, 3 for me for DC, but I enjoy. I want to say solid 90% of DC films. So yeah, it's the thing. Really cool event. They have some statues. I don't know if they are going online. I think they are. The Weta statues, and all those proceeds are going to AFSP. Again, that's the big thing here. All those proceeds,
Right.
and
Exactly.
the coolest thing of all, during the Zack Snyder Justice League Q&A at the start of it, there was one chair open, and I wasn't even thinking of it as I was watching it, and I was watching it on my phone. And lo and behold, Ben Affleck walks out, and the crowd goes crazy. They're like
Of course
chanting
they do.
Affleck, Affleck, and Affleck sits down, and there's people like, "I love you, Ben. You're the best Batman." He's like, "I can't hear you right now, but I assume you're saying nice things." And he looks over. He's like, "Not used to this." And Snyder's like, "It's like it's the home team. It's the home crowd." And you can
Yeah.
see Ben kind of relax, and it's really cool. There's some great questions in there. I implore you guys to check it out. We're not going to go into everything or they talk about here. I more so wanted to plug it, tell people to go check it out. And also, Travis Snell was on Real Anarchy. I think the first night, the Man of Steel night.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, just watching along with Ben Everett and Casey and a couple others. I'm trying to remember the others, but yeah, I watched most of that as well. Just raising money for AFSP. Who knew Snell was such a Zack Snyder lover, a Snyder fan, the biggest Snyder fan of us all, I guess. On the net,
I guess so. I mean,
guess so. It's kind of
not the rest.
documented
Yeah, the
now.
rest of us didn't get on there, so
No, I don't. Did Chris any live watching? No, me. No, you. No, Clay. No,
I was
no.
busy
Yeah, I think
Friday night
so.
though
It's
watching the movie, so it's
no,
fine.
no. Shh. You were open, and there was
Nope, I
no.
was busy watching Return of the Jedi.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad they had the event. It's super cool. A couple funny things I gotta say. One guy asked during the Zack Snyder Justice League Q&A, asked Zack about Doomsday Clock, and or no, sorry, the BVS, the BVS Q&A, and he asked Zack Snyder, is that like the Watchmen versus Justice League? And someone was like, yeah, by Jeff Johns, and I think DJ, the VFX artist, the one on the Flash currently too, dropped his microphone and just took off as a joke because like they don't talk about Jeff Johns here. So yeah, it was a little funny.
Mm.
I thought that was hilarious, and some of Ben's answers in the Zack Snyder Justice League Q&A, same with Chris Terrio, very insightful. Just shows what they were going for with some of the stuff they put into the writing. Obviously, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Again, it was probably the most divisive of the three. Nine, probably it was the most divisive of the three films. Uh, yeah, really enjoyable. I caught up on all of it. The other thing that I thought was interesting was um, during BVS post productions when they got the idea for Martian Manhunter for General Swanwick, and the him staying like how everybody backed away when Superman stood up and walked towards the glass.
Yeah,
That was
he
his
couldn't.
choice. He
Oh,
that was his own actor's choice to do that. His thinking was because he was like general, not scared. He was the
yeah.
highest ranking one there. But no, that they went back and looked at that and decided to use it for that after BVS.
I do remember hearing that he it wasn't originally going to be Martian
No,
Manhunter,
no.
and if you didn't know anybody, you could probably say it felt like they shoehorned it in. But rewatching Man of Steel and having that thought in your head, I can see where things would line up for
It
that.
all works very well. Like, it works very well because you could understand why Martian Manhunter would take it's just you don't have the scene of whoever, General Swanwick actually was dying and Martian Manhunter, like,
Coming in
that's a
and taking over,
tale
yeah.
coming, taking over, like, trying to save and he dying and then coming in and taking over his life. Yeah, like, that's something that you don't see, but you could just have that as your headcanon and go on in. So, yeah,
Correct.
that was rather interesting, and the coolest one too was Ben Affleck was talking about his Batman, film and stuff about Deathstroke as well. just he didn't go into it. Chris talked about this in our GUA chat this morning. People being like, "You don't want to go into it because the Batflick movie's happening."
Or
People don't.
he legally can't talk about it.
Well, when you write the script, you don't own the script after you leave the project
That's
and
what
all
I'm
that. Like
saying.
that just goes into the giant log of this is the cast associated with all these films and having these
Yep.
actors around. Like
That goes on a shelf, and we're never gonna see it ever again.
yeah, they paid for a treatment. That's essentially what happened there, and you got nothing from that. But I did enjoy, like Ben spoke glowingly about the character. The only thing I wish was that there was, uh, wish there was some questions asked to Ray Fisher because he kind of got a backseat there in terms of everybody else. I think that happened when Ben Affleck came in. Obviously, that was unexpected, but still, I wish he got a few more questions. It was good, and the other criticism is the audio kind of went south halfway through.
Mm,
I don't know if that was a Vero app thing, because I watched it live there. I haven't rewatched it. I just got the links for you, like for us in the chat for the show notes, but I haven't
yeah.
rewatched it through YouTube. But the audio went south halfway through on the Zack Snyder's
Well,
Justice
that
League.
sucks.
Just yeah, that's kind of. But I was really interested to hear more about that. Obviously, Ben Affleck is the werewolf. Yes, he is, and he was also cut from Buffy the Vampire Slayer the film. So
Wait, really?
yeah, not cut, sorry, ADR'd over his voice. He has one line, and they did
No,
it.
no.
They redid it
He
like
was in that
ADR.
movie?
Yes, he's a kid that hands off the basketballs. It's, you get away from me, man! But they put the voice on him so crazily
Oh, really?
different. Like I gotta send you that clip after we're done.
Okay,
So
yeah, I didn't know he was in that movie.
yeah, same. So yeah. All in all, I'm glad. Congrats to anyone that got to go. Ultimately, I wish that I could have attended myself. Selfishly, maybe one day I'll get to go to a con. We don't have those here, really. Actually, they have one here. You want to know the big get for the con?
Is it some 60s TV star?
Anatoly from Arrow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A couple years ago, I remember seeing it Sci-Fi and Rock at Rock, and the big get was Deadshot from Arrow, and that in reality wasn't a big get because he's from the island anyway. Yeah, so not the
I mean,
biggest
he's a
get.
movie star or TV show star.
There you go. There you
You know
go.
that, Matt. You know that, Matt.
He's really good in the first season. Really interesting character in the first season. Yeah, then they kind of went a little south with him, in my opinion.
A
But
little.
yeah, so Joe, congrats, like I said, to everyone. Congrats to everyone that raised any money for AFSP's great cause.
Yeah,
And
always.
again, anyone that didn't like it, just move on to what you do enjoy. That's just a little bit of advice there. So we'll take our first ad break of the evening and come back talking. Gunn's been talking a lot in the press conference, press tours leading up for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and we're going to discuss it. So stick with us as we take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. Going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Like I said, Gunn's been on the chitty chat about an awful lot of things here. I think the first one that we'll talk about is the Tallahassee Coates Superman film, or as the direct has it, James Gunn dressed as Black Superman movie plans. Like, who writes the titles for this website?
I don't know.
Come on, you could word that better than that. So yeah, James Gunn was asked about the Tallahassee Coates Superman tale, and if that was not going to go ahead now that he's producing his film. He said those two things are totally unrelated. That's an exciting movie. I know that Chantel Nang, who is the executive on that project, is extremely excited about it. So if it comes in and it's great, which I haven't read the script, and if the timing is right, that could absolutely happen. That's totally unrelated. It would be an Elseworlds Joker like tale.
Weird. Weird that he
Yeah,
says, this movie's still happening and it'd be Elseworlds. Elseworlds.
but
2
Joe,
Superman movies? Oh man. I don't know if I can handle that. And
I
a
know.
different Superman? Oh man.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you tell my sarcastic
I can because
fans
I'm
are
in the
idiots?
fits here. I gotta say this is pretty cool, and we talked about this with when the Elseworlds banner was announced.
Exactly.
You need projects in there for anyone to
Mhm.
take it seriously, and people come and pitch you things. So you need to have a couple things at least in production, so that people are like, "Oh, okay, so I can come and pitch you guys on a character if I have a take on it."
Yeah. Because as of
Yeah.
right now, we've got the Batman and the Batman 2, basically that universe, that
Yeah.
Elseworlds. We got Joker and the sequel to that. So that's that Elseworlds by itself. We can have more. I mean, we need more Elseworlds. We could
Mhm.
have DCU over here, more Elseworlds over here. Um, yeah, because Constantine 2 is still technically in the works. We haven't
Not
heard
mentioned
them
there. That
act
would have
yet.
would have went a long way if Gunn would have mentioned that.
Well, it would have. But like other than that, what else do we have? Like obviously some animated stuff. I think they're considering most of that. Some of the animated stuff, Elseworlds. I'm trying to remember um the list that they showed, and I can't off the top of my head. But yeah, I would be happy to have this film out there.
Would not like I said, I don't know who wouldn't watch this, like, if it was coming out, and if we'd be pretty big hypocrites if we said, like, "Oh, the Elseworlds banner's cool, I'd love to see that, I'd love to see more films than that," and then get this film and be like, "I don't wanna see that." No, I'd love to see it. Same thing with Joker. I wasn't keen on Joker, but I enjoyed it. It's not something I'd revisit over and over again, but it was a
Yeah,
pretty cool, like, viewing experience for the first time. I'm interested to see the second one. And same thing here. I think this would be pretty cool. Like you talked about Constantine as well. I think that it goes a long way. Obviously, you could do a bit like some cheaper films uh on that side of
spectrum.
things. So I don't
Yeah.
know what Superman effects how cheap that can be, but
Well,
uh yeah, you need to get the Elseworlds banner up and running. So it's a good idea. I hope it actually comes to fruition as
yeah,
Valzad.
100%. And
So
considering that DC having the Elseworlds can be, they were trying to lead into the multiverse a couple years back, and that kind of like faltered a little bit. Now
mhm,
this is their perfect time to reintroduce that idea and go forward with it,
yeah,
especially with the Flash movie coming out, and that's going to
agreed.
be showing the multiverse.
Not like we both said though that film should have been the last one in the
It should have been the
DC.
last one. I mean, it
Yeah.
originally was, but delays
Aquaman needed Aquaman
and
things.
yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Uh, yeah, so it's not only that he talked about. He was asked about Ezra Miller's future as well. Not a lot, but still something. Someone asked plans for Ezra in the future of the DCU, and he's gone. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, we'll see how things go. So not
He's not
great.
wrong. It's not great. Yeah, 100%. It's not great.
Saffron
But
has a better comment here when
does it?
there's a question, will Ezra Miller be back as Flash after that? And Gunn says, let's see what happens. And Saffron, Ezra is fully committed to the recovery right now, and we talk to them. We're in constant contact, and when the time is right, we'll have the conversation with them and decide what's best for them personally.
Because as of right now, to our knowledge, it's just uh, Jason Momoa, which I think we're going to talk about that here in a second, and Gal Gadot are the only
Hmm.
two. Well, no,
Constant,
the only two big names coming back.
yeah.
Because obviously we have the whole like
Peacemaker and
Peacemaker
Suicide
team,
Squad,
um, but like the big like Justice League members, those are the only
yeah.
two that come back. Potentially, it sounds like Ezra Miller, Flash could continue on. Obviously, we won't know until the movie hits and they get the numbers back and see how much is going on. Same time, it's going to depend on if Ezra Miller is legitimate about actually taking the help that they need. But
S-
I wouldn't be opposed. Like I enjoyed their interpretation in the Justice League movie. Honestly, in
Agree.
both versions. Like I know
Hmm.
the one he was a little more jokey and trying to be play for laughs, but it still was fine. I just felt that should have been more of the Wally West side. The version in Zack Snyder's was wonderful, and what we have seen so far in this movie has been good.
Same.
So we'll see what happens. Obviously, in June when the movie comes out, we get to actually see it play out. Hopefully, it'll be enough to be like, yes, I would love to see Ezra Miller come back, but we'll
He
see.
I really enjoyed his performance, especially in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That going into the Speed Force, like get out of town.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of the
great.
stuff I don't want to comment on what the things they've done and not done because I think the only thing been like actually charged for is the breaking and entering and taking liquor,
Well,
and
it
that's
didn't help
supposedly
that like things were popping up, and then the people that were accusing them Oh well, we're gonna back down. Like just somebody was trying to get their 5 minutes of fame,
Yeah, like
and
the
it just didn't matter.
abduction, the grooming, and the gun farm ones are very uh the people that make the accusations. Like just look into those. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say about that. Just give it a bit of extra instead of surface level because a lot of that was attacking uh them as a human being too. The way every picture on every one of those articles was the way they were dressed. So
Well,
make your
and it's
decisions.
also
You gotta, like Brent always says, you gotta uh like look in yourself and decide if you're comfortable going to see a film regardless of like if somebody else has done something, even
yeah.
even on a company level, like what Disney or Warner Brothers, what they do on a company level. Same thing buying Nike. All of it is the same. So you look at yourself and
The bad
make a
thing
decision.
is, and this is just reporting anymore. Everybody is quick to jump on the oh, this person did this bad thing, and you'll see 20 articles about that.
Yeah,
But then when it gets revealed that, oh, they actually didn't happen, there's one, maybe
yeah,
two articles, and they're buried. It's just,
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah,
It sucks. It sucks. And that's not just, superhero stuff, superhero people and those actors. It's everything. It's
yeah.
every single actor, every single, like you said, the company. We know for a fact that WB has a lot of problems in their closets. They've been
Hmm.
having problems since the 70s, probably longer. It's just now to the point where we're like, okay, do we want to support their company? Like, we have to decide for yourself
Yeah.
if we. Yes, I know we're gonna go see the Flash movie. We may not agree with what WB is doing behind the scenes, but we do enjoy the Flash.
Or Ezra
Because,
Miller or
correct.
whoever. Like you said,
Like
it's
it's
all.
one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you just because these people, this company is the face of it all, the people who are beneath it,
Hmm.
the
Those
my
are the ones
neighbor
that
who is
suffer.
the VFX designer, he if people don't see this movie, he's not getting paid. I mean, he's
I
getting paid
look,
to make the movie, but
I
like
look
he's not
through
getting
I look through
whatever.
the credits now and the VFX looking for Joe's neighbor, and I never see it.
Well, I this is just
I don't
it's
know
not
his
gonna say
name, and
Joe's
literally
neighbor.
just yeah. Guy can
Although
look,
maybe
like
next time I'll have to tell
what
him like, hey, you need to instead of putting your name, you need to put Joe's neighbor. That way,
what an ultimate alias that would be, Joe's neighbor. But no, it's like I said, I'm not gonna like
yeah, we
say if I'm gonna think he's gonna go on or not. I'm just really excited for the film, and if it does well, I think it just makes it harder to recast. S Bubs, Derpy, I'm not even reading that out. We're long gone of that, and you are. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah. So onward to next thing we have. Hit, James Gunn giving out some character traits on what he's looking for the new Superman, which we're both super excited to see. He
yes,
also said jokingly, "It's not Chris Pratt. Maybe if he was 10 years older." Uh, but he said it's hard. But we're looking, and we actually have some really great choices, which he's excited about. He said that for Superman, it has to be somebody who has all the humanity that Superman has, but he's also an alien. It's got to be someone who has the kindness and compassion that Superman has, and also has to be somebody that you want to give you a hug. All the Superman have been good, so we just have to add to that story. So what do you think about his thoughts?
Zac Efron as Superman. I got it.
I love people share Michael Sierra from Superman because like gotta have compassion, content, and look like aliens. So I got it that one.
Fair enough.
So
No, that's a good thinking. Like you definitely want somebody who can encompass this character, and we have seen many different iterations, not just in the movies, in the TV shows as well, and each one does a really great job as Superman for that interpretation for that time. Um, I have yet to see one that has been better. Even in the animated stuff, like the Superman that they've chosen, the voice actors for those animated
hmm
projects have been good.
hmm
Uh, I have, and honestly, I know there probably is some out there for voice
I
work
I
that
don't remember.
not just Superman, just voice work in general, or even actors in general. Like, oh, they shouldn't have been that character. I'm not taken out of it. I know, for example, some people weren't happy when Jensen Ackles was put as Batman in the new Rebirth, whatever timeline.
Animated universe,
Yeah,
yeah.
like he didn't bother me.
Didn't bother my problems with the animated universe go far from, Jensen
Sure,
Ackles'
but
voice. It's
but that's what I'm
just
saying.
skipping
Like
over the thing.
it's no big deal to me. Like every single character that they've had, every single actor that they've had play these characters, I have not found one bad thing with them.
Same,
So I definitely am putting my faith in who they're gonna find for Superman, and we're gonna go with that.
and I'm totally there with you on that. They
And
said they have a lot of, the people sending in tapes now, so, like, obviously, everyone's gonna want to get that role, and I'm super excited to see that. And the final thing, Joe, I want to talk to you about is, there was a little hubbub at CinemaCon, and we don't have quite the explanation as to why it happened, but, David Zaslav got on stage and said that, James Gunn and Peter Safran would present a 10-year, plan for DCU this week, but that was not the case. That was never the case. James Gunn's quote was, "That was never the case. No, we gave lots of info a couple months ago. There won't be much to add besides the occasional new project here and there for some time to come." And
I get people's fascination with trying to figure out because they follow the Marvel plan where Marvel just anytime there is any new event, you know, the Investors Day, the D23 Comic Con, like oh they're gonna they announce a project or two. So DC Warner Bros at CinemaCon, we're gonna get more of this 10-year plan. Uh, Did he say it? I don't know. I don't read the articles ever, especially now that I have to pay to read them on Twitter. Um, sorry,
you
that's an
just
Elon Musk joke.
inside GUA joke, inside GUA
That's not
chat
really
joke.
inside. Elon must be a fucking idiot, but it's one of those things where from the article he said he never actually said that, and unless I were to go back and read his words or listen to what he says back when he announced it in November or whenever they announced it, I can't remember what beginning of the year, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
January
I
31st.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah,
Then
or
I
30th.
could be like, oh yeah, he definitely said that. I'm not gonna go back there. Like I'm not gonna go back and look because it's one of those things where it, it sounds like he didn't say it, and maybe he did say it. And he's gaslighting everybody. I wouldn't put it past them. It's whatever.
I just didn't care.
It
Like,
doesn't matter.
obviously it could have been like a little flub. I just thought it was funny. Like, there's some comments there like, Zaslav sucks. Zaslav's a
But that's
liar.
the other thing. Like, what does it? You don't have any projects out yet.
There's
Why
no,
don't you
literally
worry
nothing.
about
What do
the
you
projects that were announced and make sure that like we can see, like, be excited to get those out before you start worrying about what the next projects are going to be.
Also, I would love to just see. I wish I could have clicked on the actual comment and replied and just shared a picture of that other timeline from back in 2015 at a Comic Con where they showed all the films that were going to come out and and be like, just
That
shut
makes me
up and
sad.
wait for the films to be made for the love of God, because
Exactly.
this never works out like that when you're pushing. Remember the Black Hawk film that Steven Spielberg was going to
Yeah.
make? So again, like, things get announced in production, but you just gotta slow your roll
Well,
just a little
especially
tiny bit.
nowadays, like it almost seems like the pressure to appease the fan base, and not just DC, obviously, is like too high on these producers and these creatives that they have to put something out. They have to announce, oh yeah, this is gonna be coming, and then slowly like just shove it in the back burner until it gets kicked out of the off the stove completely because well, it's not happening now. Sorry. Like, or just don't announce something until you know for sure it's gonna happen, which is what James Gunn and Safran is doing. They're actually
Yeah.
playing the smart game, and people are mad that they're playing the smart game.
It's just frustrating. It's like, you want us all lay us out so we can be mean to hell when this doesn't happen. It just doesn't make. And people complain both ways. But people are complaining that the DC films until they start DCU are worthless. So you want an announcement, you don't want an announcement. So
Yeah,
just
exactly. Like, just this is what we were going back to earlier, where people were mad at Zack Snyder, or people were happy with Zack Snyder. It's like you can't please everybody, and you end up pleasing nobody.
well,
Like that's not how that works.
We literally just had a guy come in the chat and say, like, "They
Yeah,
all suck." Literally, they raised what? Like, those people at that event raised several $100,000, or at least of, like, I think it was when you count up all the tickets, at least 100 grand in that event. I could be wrong on that number, but they raised a whole lot of money in that event. And the guy just comes out and blasts them. Say they're all, none of them. Some of them are very much DC fans. Like I said, like a Scott that you and I both interact with and have listened to
exactly.
his podcast. And he's not a listen to watch this, or if you don't like this, I hate you. He's not, there's none of that. So again, it frustrates me at times when people can be so negative about something. If you don't like it, just move on. Um,
That's not
Joe,
how the
we
world works, Travis.
I know,
They're not
unfortunately.
happy unless you're mad or you're sad or you're
Or
upset,
you
and they're happy.
100% think the way they do. 100%
That
think
too.
the way they do. There was a little hubbub. I watched this trailer. I don't know if you caught the Japanese version of the Flash trailer that was
No
put
comment.
into. I think it was put into our GUA chat.
It was
I'm
no
not. Well, I'm
comment.
not going to talk about the what it actually is, but there was a major editing mistake. Reminded me a
Whoa,
little bit
stop.
of the No Way Home trailer where they forgot to take out the
See
where they're singing and swinging towards, and it looked like
the No Way Home trailer was pretty obvious that they took something out because it was one Spider-Man and two giant empty spaces versus five people. It's like or four people. It's like that doesn't. There's something there. This edit or this lack of edit actually like because when it happened when we saw it in our trailer, I didn't think anything of it. But then I see the picture of this one, and I'm like, oh, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of missed that a little bit, and
Yeah,
bad on the editing person there that
yeah, they
missed
did.
that. But nobody has taken it down as of right now, so it's still up. So it was
I
just
think we're close enough to the movie where I'm not going to say that it was almost obvious, but because I think you kind of called it a few episodes back, and I played dumb as much as I could.
yeah, I knew I
So,
could. I knew that if you knew, you wouldn't give anything away anyway. So it's like if you knew or you didn't know, I wasn't getting anything from that poker face.
um, but it's one of those things where it's out there. If you want to avoid it, avoid it. If you want to see it, go search it out. It's right now, and I will give everybody fair warning. I did see this on Twitter, or well, I saw it on Instagram, which was screenshots of a
A tweet,
Twitter
yeah,
post. And there is a full-on spoiler plot synopsis of the movie out there on Twitter. Uh, the guy had stated numerous times that I'm doing this. If I'm making you aware. This is all on you. But then he also does the hashtag the Flash movie. So
yeah.
if you guys don't want to know what's going on, get your mute game started because
That's
it's
not exactly the
happening.
worst thing to put in hashtag flash movie, because then if you mute hashtag flash movie, you won't get to see that tweet. So, but if you don't mute it and you look for hashtag flash
Right.
movie,
If you are
yeah,
going out there looking, that's on you.
yeah,
It's one of those things where I'm scrolling through my Twitter and it like pops or my Instagram that pops up and it shows that picture, the comparison, and then a couple pictures. I start scrolling through that, and it's like, hey, this I'm going to break down the whole entire movie here. This is your last warning, spoiler alert. And because I already know what's going on, I wanted to see how accurate it was, and it's pretty accurate. So
yeah.
if you don't want to, again, probably because the guy actually watched the movie and was able to do it all. If you don't want to get spoiled, start muting tags, start muting like the Flash, Barry Allen, the Flash
You got
movie,
like
all
6
that.
weeks left now, so
Yeah, we are closing in. If you don't mute and you're on social media, I'm sorry. Like you're gonna get spoiled.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
My feelings on that are quite well. Unless your work is involved in going through social media, even then you can put your muted words and
Yep.
your blockers up, filters, so that you don't have to be subjected to it. Stay off social media if you don't want to be spoiled. Is
To be
the
fair, like I've actually been cutting down my social media. Like I'll get into the GUA chat because I love talking to everybody there, or
yeah.
just really reading everything there.
Also,
But
it's
it's like
very informative because they share a lot of news there. Like
there is that.
you're like
Yes.
Chris Snell and Clay. It's like
Yeah, they
a
it's
war.
between the three of them we get that's how we get our news. But like I've kind of stopped getting on my socials. Like it's one of those things where yes, it's a very toxic environment. It's been toxic for a while, and I'm just like, I don't. I can find other things to do. You know?
Yeah, just sometimes it's just more fun, just even just relax and
Yeah.
completely unplug. Joe, Saffron kind of hinted here, obviously through some press, that it felt to me his quotes make it seem like they might recast. Uh, he's talking about him enjoying producing the first two Aquaman movies and working with Mo, and he wants to work with him for many years to come, noting how he would be happy for him to play he'd be an existing role or another character. I look forward to working with Jason for many years to come. I would be happy for it to be in Arthur Curry's world, but if or when another opportunity came up, I'd find another great character for him to create. And then he says, Jason always thought Aquaman was a trilogy in his own mind, but he also loves Lobo. He's been very clear about that too. He's never going to play two characters, but no decision has been made. And then he says, what you see was what you get with Jason. I've been working with him for 6 or 7 years, and I keep waiting for the proverbial other shoe to drop. If there's an inner asshole in him that has never come out, that to me is surprise, albeit a very pleasant one. So pretty good uh, props there, but
Yeah.
it seems like I think a recasting of Aquaman is inevitable, and Momoa moving on to some other role.
I mean, I wouldn't be.
Oh, sorry. I would bet money on it instead of the other. Instead of him staying as Aquaman going forward. I feel like the whole Justice League is going to get a reboot.
And they should. In all honesty, they
Hmm.
really should. If you're rebooting Superman and Batman, just wipe the slate clean. You know,
Yeah, and
we've
bringing Green
we've said
Lantern.
that numerous times throughout these last few months. But I would I love for him to stay Aquaman? Yeah. Would I love for him to do two characters? That'd be kind of fun, actually,
Hmm. Yeah,
especially if he's not like if they're two separate characters that never meet. Like I think you could definitely get away with that.
hundred
But
percent.
that way he can at least finish out his trilogy in Aquaman, and then when he's done there, he can go move over to whatever else he's doing. Sounds like Lobo, but whatever.
What?
Um,
Hey, Elseworlds Lobo? No, just a regular Lobo
See, there you
solo
go.
film.
You can do that. You can have him play Elseworlds Aquaman. Put Aquaman in the Elseworlds section, which then could
That's
tie
so confusing
into
though when you're trying to do that with when you bring a Suicide Squad over and all of them interact, especially where Aquaman actually was in Peacemaker.
yeah. I don't.
It's like it's a whole can of worms at times, Joe.
It's
Still,
New
like
Fifty
this
Two all over again.
full reboot is what should have happened, and I would have
100%,
completely
which
still
sucks
on board with this.
because Peacemaker was so good, and I wanted that to
Yes,
continue, but it came at the
expanse of like
proverbial end of the universe, and it's just like, how are you? You can't really. I don't know what's going on.
yeah, is but we're gonna watch it all, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
So a major Guardians of the Galaxy actor is talking about joining the DC universe as well. Um, sorry, Pam. Oh my God, I'm not even gonna attempt Pan Clementif. Yeah, Pan, who plays Mantis in James Gunn's Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy, had said that they've already had conversations. Nothing is confirmed yet, but looks like she's in talks to play someone in the DCU. Uh,
There's also the report that Karen Gillan would love to play Poison Ivy
Poison
in
Ivy.
Gunn's Batman universe. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
done. Do it,
done. Sign
please,
me up. Sign me
please.
up.
I love her,
Totally,
man. She's
totally.
awesome.
I like all the Guardian people that are cast
I've
there. So
I've loved
anybody that shows up.
I loved Karen since Doctor Who. Like
I
that
also
was
don't want to
my
hear,
first thing with with her was in Doctor Who, and I'm just like, oh, Amy Pond, you can do no wrong.
and I don't want to hear anybody crapping on Gunn for using people that he worked with before. Like that's the mark. We talked about that last week. I
We
think
talked
you
about it
mentioned
last
that
time.
last week.
Yeah,
Same thing. So
that's
just
just directors working with people that they know
you're
and
comfortable
can
with. They
trust.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And clearly, the director must be doing a good thing for them to come back
What?
and work. Yeah,
No, that's not how that works. All
that's
the
it.
actors are just there for the money, Travis.
Exactly.
They're not there for the good environment. Although with the writer's strike coming up, it really won't matter.
Ben Affleck literally said that in a question
Did he?
on Zack Snyder Justice League panel, who said like Zack creates an atmosphere where like you actually enjoy going to work, like
That's
you're
what my
comfortable,
neighbor was telling me.
you're comfortable like bringing something to him, being like, hey, this kind of looks cool, or hey, I got a different way of thinking about it, and he won't get mad or like
Yeah,
put his foot in anything on the director. So he's more of a collaborative, and
he'll be like, all right,
yeah,
let's try it your way, see how it likes it, see how it plays out, and then if it works, great. If not, well, we tried it. We at
hmm
least tried it.
And the final little bit of DC news is Amazon has picked up not only Batman Cape Crusader, but a film as well, Merry Little Batman. And I'm not sure if the Bat Family is a separate title, uh, but they said we are excited to partner with Amazon to begin an all-new animated chapter of Batman, from the cinematic noir storytelling of Batman Cape Crusader to the comedic adventures of Merry Little Batman and Bat Family. These new projects ensure that there will be an animated Batman story ready to excite fans of all ages. Merry Little Batman follows the adventures of young Damian Wayne as he transforms into a hero known as Little Batman to defend Gotham City from villains aiming to destroy the holidays. The animated film will see regular shows Mike Roth take the directing seat, with the script written by Morgan Evans from Teen Titans Go. Yeah, so that's
I'm
just more Batman content.
sure. Um,
Can't find anything
this
but Bat Family here.
well, I said this is a spinoff. The Merry Little Batman spinoff series is titled Bat Family,
Yeah,
focusing on the greater Bat fam of Batman, Alfred and Damian Wayne, as they navigate the fun and frustrations of life as a super family.
Super Family.
I I mean, it's the current Cartoon Network art
hmm
style. It's the current Cartoon Network model of like quick hits because it works for them. Obviously, in a movie form, uh, I might watch it. Maybe I don't know. I'll watch it a little bit. If it's not for me, I'll turn it off.
Yes,
Oh look,
I'll just
you
check
know
it
that?
out. But yeah, like we did with Gotham Knights.
Weird. Well, no, we finished that first episode, sadly,
And that
and
was it.
then we
And
turned it off.
no, that was it. We're like, okay, yeah, we're cool. We checked this out. We gave it a shot.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I guess. Actually, we'll do. Yeah, no, I'll do my thoughts first. Um, we'll take our final ad
There
break
you
of
go.
the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we should be right back in 3, 2, 1.
Did you
And
check
we're
the
back.
time for the last one and realize, oh, we should probably take a break?
Yeah, I realized that I probably should have took the break after the gun comments before the DC news started.
It's
DC news
fine.
ran up, but we'll be
It's
okay. We'll be
fine.
okay. Yeah. So Joe,
Yes. Your thoughts on the return of Green Arrow?
yeah, that's what I titled the episode
Yes,
in the notes, but that's not what it was titled. I think it was "It's My Party and I'll Die If I Want to." Um,
sure.
it was the best episode of the season.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's not saying a fantastic thing. There was 20 minutes that were really enjoyable and 20 minutes that was a bit nonsensical and took a long time for this to start up. We didn't see Oliver Queen until 20 plus minutes into the episode of a
Okay.
40-minute episode. So that was something. All of the Oliver and Barry scenes were fantastic. Just like riding a bike. Same thing with, it was nice to see Oliver and Diggle get a goodbye. That was something. Um there was a half decent fight scene, like an action fight scene with Arrow fighting just random bad guys. That was good. But when you go look back for like season of Arrow, you're like, could have used some trick arrows in there, some other. But you also understand budget, not focus of the show. Take a step back here, Travis, and realize what you're watching. So that was enjoyable. Him in the suit, all great. Obviously, the same one-liners were being repeated. Like he said, we're doing the hits. Wally was really good in this episode as well. Wally West. My only criticism there is I don't know if obviously they brought him in for story reasons, for the plot device of blood work. Did you see the season with blood work?
I don't remember.
The villain,
I know
well,
who the villain
villain
was. I
is
just don't
you
remember.
probably didn't. No, I think you probably gave up before that. I think from remembering our
Well,
conversation.
see, I think
Maybe?
I may have watched like one or
Maybe
two of
first
them.
half of that season, maybe? I
Maybe.
can't remember. There's a lot
I
of
don't
break in
remember.
between.
It's been so long, and
It's
I've dropped off
but
so
yeah,
long. So.
he was the villain, so I liked the actor's portrayal. It just felt like I don't know, they just sacrificed him for to do this little crossover and did nothing and wiped out everything about his character by the end of the episode. So, uh,
Mm,
yeah, that was my thought about that. And Wally, like I said, I know he was used to spread the bloodwork infection throughout all of the multiverse, the new multiverse, but instead, I just felt like it was a disservice to his character since that was the final time he's going to appear on the show. That he was also on the same episode that Bloodwork came back and Green Arrow and Diggle. Like you fall pretty short on total or just for memories. I feel like you could have had a episode with just Wally and Flash. That would have been a better send off. Now, if you see him back even for the finale, I'll eat my words on that. Or if he gets taken out by a new speedster that shows up, I'll eat my words
This
on
is
that.
Wally's last appearance.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was his. Yeah. So that's was my thought. Oh, as well when I found that out. Oh, yeah. I
oh,
didn't think so for that. So yeah, that was a criticism of mine. It was nice, like I said, to see Diggle and Oliver get a goodbye this time. They even talk about that, kind of joke about it. Him get a cool uh I won't say fight scene because that's not they literally dispatch a blood work in like 2 minutes. It's not anything. But we get a cool ending scene with Oliver and Barry in the bar. Uh kind of harkening back to a couple of their in a couple of their crossovers. And Oliver basically repeats what he said to him in the pilot of the Flash, uh, which is kind of cool, and then disappears after piecing out on the check by Barry's like, "You're a billionaire." He's like, "You don't get to take it with you when you go, Barry." So yeah, I enjoyed those parts, the Oliver Diggle, Oliver Barry Wally, but I still not great for what you were even hoping. Just not great,
okay.
and I don't think Eric Wallace knows what made the first few seasons what knows what made the Flash as great as possible. That is probably my biggest takeaway from
Well, that
this
sucks.
season as
Sorry.
well. Yeah. Well, there's Joe. If you ask me, there's no indication. Maybe because of that final scene when we're in the bar, there's no indication to me that this is the final season. There's no feeling of finality at all
Hmm. Okay.
to me. Like I get no feeling of finality while watching this. Whereas, just for example, with the final season of Arrow, where they knew it was the final season, every episode felt like it had weight to it, and like you were building towards this like final. I know it was tied with Crisis too, but still, uh, it just still doesn't feel like it's the final season for me. So yeah,
Is it possible that when they were writing the scripts originally, like I mean, I know we've got like what 4 episodes left, 5 episodes left.
3 I think or 4,
That's
4,
even worse. Um, like
10,
with
11, 12, 13. Yeah,
because I
4.
was gonna say like maybe the first half definitely didn't feel like it was they were writing it to finish like it was gonna be the finale. But if we're almost done with the show, you would figure that they know it by now and they would
They
start
knew, they
writing
knew.
for
It's just now I don't want us to completely skewer them because they had an episode uh, boarded up that they were going to write about Captain Cold and they couldn't get Wentworth Miller, and maybe same thing for. I don't think the actor was going to come back and play Mick Rory anymore after he finished Legends. So
Didn't he die
uh,
in Legends?
I can't remember what happened now in the final couple seasons of
I
Legends.
didn't watch the last
I
2 seasons.
enjoyed
I
the
don't know.
I enjoyed the first season the most. So
See, there
I'm in
was
the outlier there. I'm not saying there wasn't good stuff in the other seasons. I'm just saying I enjoyed the first season for this
I
whole
think
just
I like the second season better, but I don't
second
remember.
season was good too. Legion of Doom.
Yeah, maybe that okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also don't remember. Like I said, it's been
It's
too
been a
long.
while. Been a while. But yeah, it was a little like I said, I really enjoyed it, but could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot better in my opinion. So goodbye, Green Arrow. It was nice to have you one more time on screen. I did enjoy it. I had a smile on my face the entire time, so I
What
guess
if
that's all that mattered.
now I'm not trying to curse you or anything, but what if Green Arrow comes back in Gotham Knights?
Yeah, then I'm not watching that. He could come back. He could come back how he wants. Like Flash, I'm not doing the. I watched the first goddamn 8 episodes of this season because of this appearance, and it did nothing for me. I didn't need anything from the first 8 episodes to go into this 9th episode.
Well, now
So
you got 4 left, so you can just finish out
yeah,
the.
so now I gotta finish it. So if they don't come out, they don't come with the heat for the final couple episodes. So help me God, I'm gonna be so disappointed. But yeah, that was Travis's thoughts on Flash. Season 9, episode 9, The Return of Green Arrow. Some enjoyable moments, but overall a missed opportunity.
Fair enough.
So, Joe, we have a ritual recap to talk about before we get out of here this evening. Smallville Season 2, Episode 16, Fever.
This episode was so dumb. It was dumb.
Sucky. It was sucky suck.
Martha's not acting like Martha.
No.
The Clark gets infected with the whole thing of like, oh, it's just this weird, like infectious, what do they call it, like pod, something like that, and nobody at no point
Meteor rock spores.
spores, and at
Yeah.
no point did anybody think, oh, it's meteor rock.
And also, how come these spores haven't existed anywhere else in this goddamn town? Like
Correct.
nobody's
That's what I'm
inhaled
saying.
these meteor spores since now. They've been in dirt. Remember the bug guy and his whole sanctuary being all rocks and so again,
Yes,
that
I'm
was
pretty sure they've been in the Clark has been in that cellar numerous times. He would have felt weak. I mean, I
and
understand spores hide themselves until they burst out, but like that was dumb. The Jonathan MacGyvering like Ethan Hawke,
don't even talk about that.
going
That
into the
it's
military base. What? Oh, some farmer is going to be able to sneak in this military base and no one's going to catch him. Are you kidding me?
Clark flying around the earth and wanting back time would be more believable in that scenario than his dad going in a la Mission Impossible and breaking in. That was outrageous.
Ethan Hunt. There we go. Hunt.
Arguably, to me anyway, the best scene in this entire episode is when Jonathan is super scared that the CDC or whatever DEA, whatever the agent is that's going to take
Yeah.
Clark's blood is going to find out. He's just about to tell her like Clark's secret. And I'm like, is he going to tell? I'm like, is he going to tell Clark's secret? Or is he going to smack her up over the head, or what's going to go down here? And then she pierces his arm and takes his blood. So
Yeah.
I really thought that was a very good scene, but that in a 40-minute episode is not good enough to bring.
No.
Oh, it was rough. It was a rough watch, and I really appreciate. That's the one thing I do like about Talkville. They will call out a crappy episode when there's a crappy
the
episode.
BS when it shows, and
Sometimes they might be a little bit too tough, but yeah, I listened to the episode and they were a little tough on this one. But
that's probably fair. Did they talk about the cops chasing a black kid?
They talk about a few things there. Just like
because that doesn't sit well.
No, not at all. And obviously the way they just pin it on Pete. I think Rosemop even says something like, "Yeah, pin it on the black guy, of course."
Like, that's just why? Why would you think that's a good idea?
Terrible. Even back
2002.
then,
why did we think that? 2003. Why did we think that was a good idea?
And I don't like. We barely saw any of Lex and Helen, and Lex is all down the dumps about her possibly leaving. Like this is a little out of the norm for me. No, they. I needed to see
dating
you need to show me a couple scenes in a couple episodes of them going on a picnic or not even picnic. They're going to a big gala, a fancy gala. Sorry,
I mean, they've been dating for a while in this
while.
timeline. But we only seen her like 3 times.
A couple times, yeah. So and that's obviously the problems of network television back then as well. So we can't be.
Well, it's also probably the problems of getting the actress to be able to be able to get on the show. You know. So,
but that also goes back to the 22 episodes. If you had 8 to 10 episodes in a streaming type thing where they're all at once and not like
they film it all at once versus them filming week to week. As it
would be nice to. Again, it's just. Maybe that is just what you have to do to stretch out some episodes there. That
it's the old way.
Yeah. And the other thing I liked was that Lex stealing Clark's file at the end there.
Martha's file.
Martha's file, sorry. I thought it was
Clark's. Given Martha's file.
Yes.
just to see how what was going on.
A little perceptive.
Allegedly,
Let's look prying in a little bit there.
a little bit too much.
But I will tell people that they should definitely be on the lookout for next week's episode because
Yeah,
it's a banger in Rosetta, and also, uh, but the two of the creators of Smallville will be on the Talkville podcast. They usually have some good nuggets about these episodes, so definitely going to check that out for
I'm
next week's
pretty. Yeah, I'll
episode.
watch that one because that one is a very important episode.
It's also ranked the highest of the season, so
I wonder why.
yeah.
There's a
So
reason why the screenshot for that episode
dun, 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 dun,
is who it is. Yeah,
dun, dun, dun.
exactly.
So we're excited for that one. We'll be a bit more in depth on that one next week. Joe, I think that's everything.
I believe so.
We ready to rock? By rock, I mean leave.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, that was such a
I
terrible
want to
exit.
rock.
One of these days, I'm gonna get a good segue to leave.
Why do you need one? Just say bye, y'all, and hit the end button.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye, guys.